Muyal. In India, the culture is not for parents to talk about money to their children at an early age. Although there are some exceptions, Srivani ma'am brought up certain communities which are business communities, which introduce money and money matters at a very early stage to their kids. And therefore, their kids eventually can manage their finances much better. Whereas the rest of the country believes that money is one topic that should stay away from the kids' mind, which is, I think, is a wrong notion. Therefore, they end up realizing it after making some mistakes.
Pragati, would you like to ask?
Hello, I have two questions. One is regarding the emergency fund. So, if I am a fresher who just got placed with a 30K per month salary and my expenses, including rent and other essentials, say 15K per month. So, in order to create an emergency corpus, how much amount should I set aside every month?
So, thank you for the question. So, there is no hard rule as to how much you can set aside. There is this general rule: need 50%, wants 30%, and saving 20%. Remember, your saving includes emergency fund, investments, and other aspects. So, depends on case to case. So, for example, I have a family of 6 members, and I have my parents who are in their mid 70s. Both my parents are in their mid 70s, right? So, for me, a need to maintain an emergency health fund is higher than a younger family overall, right? The average age of the family is less. In some other case, they may have a lesser need for that. Similarly, let us say I'm in employment. I have a stable amount of money coming in every month, right? As it comes to my financial losses, I'm more secure as compared to a business. A business, if it is more volatile, at least it is more uncertain than employment. Yes. So my need for an emergency fund is higher if I am dealing with that volatile situations. So there is no hard rule, case to case, but factors to consider is: what are your spends? Who is there in your family? What are your spends? What is your income generating source? If your income generating source is stable, it's different. If it is unstable, you have to have higher emergency fund.
Add a little bit here, Pragati.
Yes, ma'am.
As Sir said, 30% or 50% keep it aside for needs and the remaining invest or save. At least have 2 years of your requirement, your yearly requirement for 2 years. Keep it aside for as an investment or as a saving. So that in case, remember when people had COVID, how people suffered? People didn't have food.
Yes.
So at least for 2 years, ensure you have enough money set aside to live basically.
Yes.
Number 2, one of the most beautiful things about Indians, especially the Patels and the Gujaratis and the Marwadis, the children would stay with their parents. Unlike in the Western world where children leave homes at 16 and 18, our children stayed with their parents even after they were. So this helped them build their corpus.
Yes, ma'am. This cultural thing actually, it helps you to, save even much better.
Yes. In fact, it was in the US, they were saying that Indians are one of the top 5% of people who are wealthy. One of the reasons we are wealthy is because the first 10 years of our income, we are not using it for our rent, for our cars. We are frugal. In fact, even nowadays, if you see, some of the families, the parents will say, no, you immediately invest it because they have seen life. They have seen ups and downs of life. So they ensure that you have your basics invested first.
In fact, that's the same tip many people give when somebody is changing from employment to business. The thumb rule that they suggest is, do you have money for 2 years to run your family? Only then step into this business, because don't assume that your business will give you money for the 2 years. So absolutely agree with Srivani ma'am.
My second question is regarding health insurance, sir. Now there are certain illness, say for instance, like ulcers or something, to get to get the test done like endoscopy. Okay, that itself is like 3,000 to 4,000. Okay, and all these procedures does not require any hospitalization, and neither all these are covered under insurance. So for some sickness like this, say for instance, I will have to take funds from my emergency fund just because all these are not covered from the health insurance. And apart from that, to recover from those sickness, the tablets and all those things again are not covered under insurance, and all such bills are like very 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 expensive. So is there any health insurance which will cover all these kind of expenditures and illness?
I said this at the beginning, I'm repeating myself. I am not selling any stock or any particular insurance plan. Usually, you are correct. Usually, insurances always do not cover all diagnostics. But if you read all the insurance, medical insurance policies carefully, some medical insurance policies, I'm not taking any names because I'm not brand ambassador for anyone, is some insurances cover certain diagnostics, not all, but certain diagnostics are covered. Not every test. I want to do let's say a lipid profile, or I want to do some small test, it may not be covered, but certain diagnostics are covered. But remember one thing, if the coverage is increasing, it also means that your premium also will go up accordingly. So again, it's the risk and reward thing that we need to keep in mind. So you can choose some of those. But always medical insurance policies, you should read fully. They'll have a lot of caveats on when they cover these, when they do not cover this.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir. And thank you, ma'am.
Shmuel, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, thank you very much on a very interesting presentation. And I want to ask you a next question. What, according to your opinion, role of community and education system in education to financial literacy? Among others, if, to your opinion, school and community need to teach financial literacy?
It's a great question.
Thank you.
In fact, financial literacy has to be at a school level, at the primary school level. Some basics have to be taught. What is money? How money is generated? How a family is spending money, etc. Right? I think it has to be at a school level. Parents have to play a role. In India, the culture is not for parents to talk about money to their children at an early age. Although there are some exceptions. Srivani ma'am brought up certain communities which are business communities, which introduce money and money matters at a very early stage to their kids. And therefore their kids eventually can manage their finances much better. Whereas the rest of the country believes that money is one topic that should stay away from the kids' mind, which is, I think, is a wrong notion. Therefore, they end up realizing it after making some mistakes. The second aspect, so should the community help? I think today Vishwa is doing these talks because school is not doing enough of this, right? So if only the schools had done enough of this, we would not be in this situation. So I kind of, your point was more like a thought for all of us. Well, I definitely believe that schools, parents, and the rest of the community play an important role in making sure youngsters are financially literate.
Shmuel, I would like to answer your question. In fact, I wish it is definitely a need in schools to teach education, to teach children on money matters, how to pay your taxes, how to pay your telephone bills, how to pay your milk bill, how to pay your electricity bill. I think children, it's very good that you've asked this question, and to all our audience, right from a young age, we need to give money to our children and ask them to go buy an ice cream and come back and give an account. I remember with my children and my nephews and nieces, I would give them money when we went to a theater, and I would say, I want the account. And even if 5 paisa was not returned, I would not take it easy. So the idea of children being accurate in their record keeping of how they're spending their money is extremely important in teaching. So one is how to pay your bills, how to pay your taxes, how to do your record keeping. Then how to invest, how to save, how to go in schools. We were asked to put up a sale of food. So we actually put in money and invested, and we saw whether we made money or we didn't make money. There are n number of ways we can train the children, and this has to be made a part of the curriculum.